Why Bioactive? But more importantly, why Springtails? Isopods aren't a necessity. There we go, I can talk. But I want to explain today what happens in tropical settings. What happens when you don't have Springtails and you have a high humidity tank. What's up, everybody? I am James and you're watching Blue Dog Reptiles. Now, I want to show you something, and am I concerned about this tank? No, because I'm getting ready to redo it, so it's not really a big concern. But as you saw from the thumbnail, and I apologize about the glare here, but you see all this yellow throughout? That's all mold. That's mushrooms, that's mold. This tank, quite frankly, oh look, there's my false chameleon being weird. This happens in high humidity tanks. If we don't have the proper cleanup, then like Springtails, then what happens is the high humidity can create mold and mushroom buildups. Now, is this strictly due to the high humidity tank? No, it can come in on soil, it can come on plants, but Springtails remove that. Now, I want to share a story with you here. This tank over here was in the exact same situation. It was, I mean, this was solid yellow. It was insane. And you're like, well, what's in there? Actually, it's just a boa. It wasn't getting watered a whole lot, so it was kind of crazy how this tank got overrun with mold and mushrooms. But what we did is we actually incorporated Springtails into the soil, and as you can see, it's completely gone. There's not a drop of it left. That shows you right there what the Springtails are doing. Now, people expect that, let's say you have a tank like this that's in such rough shape and disrepair, and you're like, man, I gotta strip it down and start over. You're like, I put in Springtails and it's been a week or 2 days and it's still here. Take a breath. It's going to be okay. Now, is this anything that's going to hurt the anole? No, it's not. Now, if you start seeing signs of it on the anole or on your animal, then you might want to take it to the vet and get it examined for bacterial infections or whatnot. But when you put in Springtails, and remember, there are different types of Springtails. So let's say that you were to put temperate Springtails in. Temperate Springtails are an arid environment, or an arid Springtails. Man, that is a mouthful. Which means that they like hot environments. So your leopard gecko, or your leopard geckos, your bearded dragons, that is going to be an arid environment. That's going to be a environment where your Springtails are going to thrive. Temperate Springtails will. Now, when you have high humidity tanks like this, then you want tropical Springtails. Hence, in the name, is going to be a tropical setup. Typically, what happens when we introduce Springtails is I typically so like this setup right here, I just put this together. Just built it. Oops. And that's not latched. But I just put this together. Is there an animal in there? No. But I did add Springtails. Now, the reason why I didn't put an animal in here, A, because I just planted these plants. So if I put an animal in here, I think I'm moving the Leachianus in here. There is going to be another piece of cork in here, but I was trying to give the plants a little bit of time. But when we set up bioactives, it's a good rule of thumb, and in my experience, to leave the tank alone. And you're like, well, for how long? Should it be a week? Should it be a month? The longer you leave the tank alone with the cleanup crew, the quicker the ecosystem is going to thrive. So from what I've seen in all the different tanks I've built, is typically about 3 to 4 months is where a colony is so strong that it can take on something like this. That means, and you're like, how does that work? Well, first off, you're still going to mist, you're still going to spray, you're still going to run the lights. The only difference is you are not going to have an animal in here. So treat it like there was an animal in here, because there eventually will be, but don't have the animal in there. Now, with springtails, it takes them time to reproduce. Now, if you want to, and most people just buy a single culture, and most of the time that'll do it. Typically about a month is where a colony is established enough where they can take on everything. But 3 to 4 months is a thriving community. That way they can take on, well, that. So, and you can actually see, look, there's a mushroom popping up right there. Now, why haven't I done anything with this tank? Like I said before, the reason I haven't done anything with this tank is because we're going through and stripping enclosures. We're painting enclosures. You can see I actually have one of the big ones over here. I actually had a customer say, because this is our clearance table normally, but I had nowhere else to put a tank this size so I could paint it. And he's like, oh, is that on clearance? No, they don't even make that tank anymore. So no, hence the empty spot right there. But what's gonna happen is we're going to get that tank, put it back up here, and actually stick around for that video, for that one, because I'm doing like a custom waterfall and a whole bunch of really neat stuff with that. But why I'm not fixing this one. So, a couple of reasons. One, the soil I need to change out. This, could it be fixed? Yes. If I had 3 to 4 months to wait, and I wasn't kind of on a time crunch of doing all these tanks, yes, I would just add springtails and let this soil do its thing. But because I am redoing setups and redoing soils so that they are all bioactives, and I am making sure to put in springtails in each one, this one is just going to get stripped down. The plants will get cleaned, the cork will get cleaned and all that, but we're just going to dispose of the soil and put new enriched soil. And I actually do have a bin there that I make my own soil. If you'd like me to do a video on how I make my soil, you can kind of see a little bit of it in here. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you to all the new subscribers. You guys are beautiful and absolutely amazing. If you have any more questions on springtails, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. You guys are amazing, and we will see you next time.